In this week's episode, we are taking you to the fabulous Noosa on the Sunshine Coast in Queensland, Australia. Noosa has long been a popular destination, and in this episode you will hear why. And now even more people are going to be able to enjoy this paradise in Queensland that we share in our latest episode. Because up until recently, Lyle and I believed that we were the best thing to come out of the Sunshine Coast to promote travel and tourism. Just joking. Well, sort of. But now there is Shazza and Bazza. Who are these two Aussies, you might ask? Well, they are two of the aircraft who will be flying in and out of the Sunshine Coast Airport from all over regional Australia for Bonza Airlines. So Noosa isn't just for city folk anymore. There are flights from Coffs Harbour, Mildura, Cairns, Proserpine, Rockhampton, Newcastle, Albury, Townsville, Mackay, and more to come. And they're cheap. So hop on the Bonza app, it's purple, my favourite colour, and see when you could be flying into the stunning Noosa and surrounds. So this isn't a paid promotion, we just think it's awesome for the area. Although, a couple of free flights would be nice, Mr. Jordan. So you need to stick around though to the end of the episode because we share the main reason we just love Noosa. And it isn't the beaches, the shopping, the food, the national parks, the water sports, although they're all fabulous, but that's not what it is. It's something completely different and really special. So listen to episode 39 about the paradise that is Noosa. Cheers! And welcome to the Beach Travel Wine Podcast. We are your hosts. I'm Leanne.
And I'm Lyle, and this is the travel podcast for beach-loving, wine-drinking couples over 50.
So if that sounds like you, grab yourself a drink, sit back, relax and listen as we go travelling the world, one wine at a time.
Cheers.
Good morning, Lyle. How are you today?
Good morning, Leonita.
You good?
Yeah, perfecto.
Perfecto. Today we're talking all about one of our favourite places, Noosa. And we're going to tell you much later in the podcast why. I mean, you'll find out all the reasons. There's many reasons, but there's one reason in particular that it's our favourite place, one of our favourite places, and we're going to tell you that's a secret for later. But we've just returned. We don't live far from Noosa, and we've been there sort of regularly, and we've just returned from a couple of days, what we call research. It's tough. Like, it was really tough research, you know, right there on the, sitting by the pool looking at the beach, wasn't it?
Yeah, and, it was very...
Yeah, in Noosa.
Very hard.
And Noosa's well famous, you know, lots of people have heard of Noosa, but I guess the first thing we need to do is just tell people who might not know or who do know and want to know a little bit more, just a little bit about, you know, where it is and a little bit of the history and population. Yeah?
Sure. Okay, so the Noosa Shire has a population of 56,873. The Noosa Heads population, which is the
little township right there on the main beach
area. The world famous area, yes, has a population of 5,159.
Which of course swells, like that's permanent residents.
Yeah, permanent residents. Okay, so the Noosa Heads is 148 kilometres, or about an hour and 50 minutes from Brisbane by car. Now, there's only one way to get to Noosa from Brisbane, and that is on one. There's only one per day direct bus route.
But if you don't drive, you mean?
If you don't drive, yeah. So to get from Brisbane to Noosa, it's there's only just one per day, and that leaves from the Roma station.
Yep, Roma Street station.
And it's between $20 and $40.
Yeah, okay.
So that's one way. It's just a popular holiday destination on Queensland's Sunshine Coast.
So when we talk about places that we often go to, you know, like the Sunshine Coast, we're at the southern end where we live on Kings Beach, and Noosa is at the northern end, and you probably have to say Noosa's at the Paris end.
Oh, certainly. Yeah. Or, as often referred to as Melbourne's most northern suburb.
It is too. It's full of people from Melbourne love holidaying at Noosa. Sorry to interrupt you.
That's okay.
Go ahead, Dom.
Now, it is widely stated that the name Noosa is a corruption of the Gabby word.
For shady place or something.
Yeah. So for Notharu, meaning a ghost or a shadow.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. However, this is unlikely as a 1870 map of Noosa shows Noosa River, written as Noosa, spelt N-U-S-A, River, and a notice to mariners published in 1873, refers to the Noosa Heads and the Noosa River in Laguna Bay.
Oh, a bit of controversy right up in the...
Yeah, there is, but yeah, the First Nations people were definitely the Gubbi Gubbi, which is spelt Gubi.
Okay, Gubbi
Gubbi, yeah, sorry, yep. In the 1870s, Noosa's early wealth came from timber and milling industries, with tourism developing in the late 1920s.
Right, yeah, and that's it's also because of gold mining in Gympie, which isn't that far from Noosa. So, yeah, it's now Noosa is, as you mentioned before, like the population isn't that big, and they've done a cap on that, haven't they?
Yeah, well, it's one of the other things that Noosa is famous for is also the quarrels between developers and also the people. Well, the people that live there that want to preserve Noosa for what it is. And you're correct that there is a cap on population, which is. I think is currently 57,000, and with the population at 56,873, they're not far from it. And and obviously land values and all that sort of thing go up because of that.
Yeah, because there's not a lot of land there, and there's not a lot of housing developments and things right there in that area. So,
no, so you've all in 1988, Noosa was renamed Noosa Heads.
Right, and there's a craft beer called Heads of Noosa, which I think is a classic name. Yeah.
You know what? I didn't realise the connection until you just said it then. Yeah, that's perfect. Yeah.
It's always say I've seen better heads on beer.
Yeah, I have.
Not in Noosa though.
No, but I've never been referring to beer. But anyway.
But you never say that in Noosa. All right, can we...
Okay, main attractions.
Oh, main attractions. All right, let's do that.
Is its beaches, its main beach, and its small bays.
Yes, it is.
Around the headland, and great surfing locations which are known on world surfing circuits. One of the major surfing contests involves the Noosa Festival of Surf. The festival attracts large numbers of longboarders. Other major events are the Noosa Triathlon, the Noosa Food and Wine Festival, the Noosa Winter Festival, and the Noosa Classic Car Show, which has the Noosa Hill Climb, and which Peter and the boys have often been in.
Friends do that.
Yeah, Peter Jones.
Is that the Noosa Hill Climb up through the hinterland?
No, it's actually up the hill.
Okay.
There's a special road up there, and also the Noosa Marathon. So the actual council in Noosa has always been very, very proactive, and at one stage they were amalgamated into the Noosa Shire, but because Noosa is seen to be so unique as a tourist attraction, that actually got dissolved, and now they have their own
the Noosa
council.
Shire Council, that's right.
Yeah.
All right, so let's talk about Noosa Main Beach. Now, the thing I find about Noosa is, it's one of those places that, and this is just me, I know, but maybe someone else can relate to this. When everyone says, oh, you've got to go there, it's so nice, it's so nice, it's so nice, you just think, I don't want to do what everyone else does. That's, I want to find somewhere else that's nice. And so you go into Noosa sort of thinking, oh, well, everyone loves it, so, I'm going to see why. And Noosa has that effect, you just sort of think, surely it can't be as good as what everyone says. And you just arrive there and you realise it is as good as everyone says, and even better, I think. And for me, I was trying to think about when we were there doing research the other day about what it is. And for me, besides how absolutely gorgeous it is, it's just the feeling of the place. There's just something about standing there in Noosa, whether on the main beach. There's a feeling like no other.
The vibe.
Yeah, it is. It is just something that just sort of makes me feel special being there. It's just you feel like you're in a special place. Now, the main beach isn't that big, but the main beach faces north, and it's one of only a couple of beaches in Australia that face north. Now, people say big deal, but because we're on the east coast, because it faces north, it's very sheltered from the southerlies, and. It just makes every day I've been at Noosa Beach, the surf is perfect, isn't it?
Well, when you say it's perfect, it's very calm.
That's what I mean. It's not like like where we live. You've got a southerly blowing and there's white caps and it's rough, and you don't get that, because you've got that big headland. It's in Laguna Bay there, right on the beach, and then along the main beach, there's it's a nice flat sand area, and there's a boardwalk that goes all the way along, and it's not that long, the beach, but it goes all the way along the beach, and it takes you past the surf club, past the restaurants right on the water, past the accommodation places along there as well, right up under then you're off the beach and under the trees, and it's another sort of walk up that way. But there's always some stuff happening on the beach. You can hire, like paddle boards, and you can hire beach chairs, and now we've all got our cool cabanas. They're all over the beach.
And you've also, obviously, there's some sort of I'm not sure, it's not franchise is not the word, but it's concession that there's actually, you can get massages on the beach as well.
Yeah.
So, and I think because the Noosa Council is aware of how important tourism is to Noosa,
yes,
that they spend money on looking after the beach area, and I just think it's magnificent.
Of course, they've got the red and yellow flags, the
it's patrolled,
and there's the showers and things there. The only thing I'd probably say, the only negative about Noosa Beach is parking. It's really difficult to get parking. You just have to go early, yes? Yeah,
that's true. But the council has also introduced a shuttle bus from the Noosa Junction area.
Yep.
So especially over the Christmas period and the very, very busy periods, you don't actually have to drive to Noosa Heads. You can go to a designated areas where there are large car parks, and then they will shuttle you through to the beautiful Noosa Heads.
Now, I have been recorded as saying many times that my favourite headland walk in the world that I've done, and I've done a few, but not that many really, but my favourite place to walk is in Noosa National Park, and that starts right there from Noosa Main Beach. The actual national park's about a one kilometre up but there's this beautiful track from the beach. You can walk straight along up this wide sort of boardwalk that they've put up through the trees. They've even built it around the trees, and you can see that in some of the photos at beachtravelwine.com that go with this episode. And then you sort of go down into the car park area where the national park starts. But even between Noosa Main Beach and where the national park starts, the views are amazing, aren't they?
Yeah.
And is there any information you want to give it before I start going on about just how beautiful it is?
Oh, look, it is. It's very unique.
Yes.
The actual board,
yeah.
Look, the actual national park. This is part of the Noosa National Park, this particular area. There's a whole bunch of other areas that are included in the national park, but this is probably the most famous
and
well recognised. I think the uniqueness comes because of the little bays that as you walk up the hill, you've got Little Cove, you've got Tea Tree Bay, and then you've got Granite Bay, and these are areas where so
you just walk along a little bit, and there's another beautiful bay, and they're all a bit different. Some have got a bit of sand, some have got some rocks, some have got a few more trees, and then you go a little bit further and there's another little bay, and each bay has people swimming or surfing, and it sort of takes you, this walk takes you all along these bays.
Yeah, and you've got
Dolphin Bay.
Well, you've got these are the lookouts. You've got Boiling Point Lookout, and then you've got Dolphin Point Lookout, and these are designated areas where there's not chairs, but there's benches
viewing areas, right?
Areas that you can look at, and we, on many of occasions, we've actually seen pods of dolphins. We've seen green turtles, or turtles, large turtles, just swimming along, and you can see them, and because the water is just crystal clear. It's hard to describe.
I've got some beautiful photos of the walk along there.
Yeah,
and
I think we've on occasion.
You can walk all the way along to sort of probably the most popular walk is to that Dolphin Point, because that's sort of where the main path area sort of finishes. as in like the wide cement sort of path, where with all the viewing points, and then from then on, it's a bit more of a hiking track.
Yeah.
And you know, so say to Dolphin Point and back, I think from Noosa Main Street, it's probably around 4.5-5 k's, isn't it? You know,
yeah. But then, as you say, if you follow on it, as you say, it's more walking tracks, and then it sort of tends to go south a bit, like there's that headland, and it's south a bit, and
it goes right out to the headland, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Like,
so then. And the next beach you come across, or the next bay, is Alexandria Bay, which is a legal nudie beach.
Yeah.
Leanne and I have... we've observed from a distance, and that's as far as we're going to go. And then once you get past Alexandria Bay...
You wanted to go, but you didn't have enough sunscreen.
That's true. That is true. And I hope everybody got that. But then, you know, once you get past Alexandria Bay, you're at Sunshine Beach.
Sure.
And Sunshine Beach is another beautiful area, like a tourist destination. It's got a beautiful surf club there, and lots of accommodation, and lots of really good cafes and restaurants.
And I think that's at 10k, like from Noosa to that headland point you're talking about is like a I think 11k walk. I think
and within that board, well, the actual walk,
hike, I'd call that.
Section. Hike. It is a designated koala area.
Yeah, that's right.
So
you're walking along, and there'll be some of this on Instagram. You're walking along, and I took a video. I didn't see a koala, but you know, you're on a path, and to the left you look up, and there's like this mountain or hill full of lush vegetation, right? And then you pan down, and you're on this shady, beautiful walkway, and then there's like a railing sort of path along, and then next to that is a beautiful bay where you can just get off the track and go down onto the beach or the rocks and swim, and that's not just in one spot, that's almost the whole way along. It is absolutely stunning, the colour of the water too, because then when you get up to these lookouts, you're looking down, and the water's so clear that you can, you know, see the rocks, and as you say, sometimes you see the turtles and things. It's just absolutely stunning. Like, you just can't help but be blown away by that. But is it, like, I need you to find in your notes there, darling, it's biosphere or something, like it's part of the, you know, like a unique sort of World Heritage Area or something. Like
well, Noosa has 450 kilometres of public bikeways and walking paths through the Noosa Biosphere Reserve. Noosa region was declared Biosphere Reserve by UNESCO 2007. The Noosa Biosphere Reserve is home to 2,346 species of plants and over 700 species of native animals.
I wonder who had to count those.
44% of the Australian bird life resides within the Noosa Biosphere. I think they could have said 50%, no one would have known the difference.
Well, I think they could have said 2,345 either.
They could have.
Yeah, but anyway, so that's impressive when you think of that. Like you think you're going to Noosa, to this, you know, beach town just full of tourists. But when you look at Noosa from some aerial photos, and you can see, and even when you're standing in the main street of Noosa, you can see so much vegetation.
Yeah.
Right? Like it's really a nature's lover's reserve as well as a famous beach town, yes?
Yeah, actually, that's a really good point, Lam, because I had never really looked at the natural environment of that area before we've actually did the research.
You've looked at the natural environment from the Noosa Surf Club many times.
Oh, that's true, but we'll get to that. But what I'm saying is that until we sort of went up and did this research and sort of had a really good look at the ins and outs of the Noosa Shire, I suppose, I never realised how the natural beauty of it how well the council has done to protect that.
Yeah, it is just beautiful. Yeah, and I would, if you're not really a hiker or walker, there's still some sections of that beautiful headland walk that you can do. If you park there at the car park at the beginning of the national park, there's a cafe there, there's information kiosks, there's lots of Aboriginal history stories about the place. There's picnic tables, there's there's this grass area, there's people sitting there doing yoga or meditation the other day, so you don't even have to walk up a hill to appreciate just how beautiful the nature reserve is.
One of my favourite things that I don't want to miss out in letting our listeners hear is quite often as you're walking up the mountain there, or the hill there, the Noosa Hill, you can actually see the surfers when the surf's up, and and you can see them side on, which is unusual. You don't actually get the chance.
You love that, don't you?
Yeah, and I love that because
they're almost at the same height as you, aren't
they?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's fabulous. But just one thing. Look, to walk up the Noosa Hill, you do have you'd have to be reasonably fit.
If you want to go all the way, sure.
Yeah,
but yes. If you want to hike to, say, Dolphin Point, you need a reasonable level of fitness. It is quite undulating. There are little stops along the way, though, if you want to, like they put little platforms for viewing and resting. But, you can drive into the National Park car park there and enjoy that area there. But it's certainly... if you're not a beach lover, it doesn't matter. This is the most perfect place to walk for views and nature. I think that you'll find. It's obviously UNESCO agree with me, see or not?
See.
Another thing that's synonymous with Noosa is the name Hastings Street, which is the main street of Noosa. It's which runs parallel with the beach, right? So correct. I think most people have heard of Noosa. They've heard of Noosa National Park, Noosa Heads Beach. It's famous for that. But Hastings Street, and I think Hastings Street is full of fashion shops. There's more men's clothes shops there than I've seen anywhere else. And to me, it's like a fashion magazine. Right, it's like the glossy, designer magazine that you'd open up, and there's Hastings Street. It's beautiful to look at, the shop fronts, and the people walking around are like fashion models, aren't they?
You need to dress to impress in Hastings Street.
I didn't say before, but one of the things not just Hastings Street, it's probably one of the only places that I've been where you'll be sitting on the beach. And when people go to the beach in Noosa, that's still a fashion statement. Most places you've got your swimmers on, maybe a t-shirt and shorts, and your thongs, but not in Noosa. They arrive, they have a beach outfit, it seems, And don't get me wrong, I sound like I'm being negative. I'm not. I love it. They've got like their flowing pants on and the designer beach bags. Like it's just, and the sunglasses and the matching, everything's matching, and it's looked like they've got up and thought that's the matching outfit I'm wearing to the beach today, and they're stunning. Like we were walking down the path the other day, and there's this lady in this beautiful long dress, and she could have been a supermodel. And she's the that's not the what's the word I'm looking for? It's not the exception, No. It's like there's more beautiful people walking around Noosa than anywhere I've seen, and they're classy. It's not like your cheap magazine. It's like your high fashion glossy magazine feel, isn't it?
Yeah, it's for sure. And it's actually one of the things I noticed this time was the amount of older business, obviously business type people, and they've got the when I say people, generally blokes, men. Yeah. And they're all out the front of the shops or the restaurants, and they've all got their phones to their ears, and they're obviously still doing business deals, but they got the designer sunglasses on, and they've they're suntan, and I'm talking about guys around my age, in their 50s, 60s. They look $1 million,
and they ooze money.
They ooze money, and it's almost like they're developers, and they're talking about their next new entrepreneurial adventure.
And then you've got like the fancy sports cars, and
there's no shortage of Ferraris,
and also all the Vespers. Like that's a thing now too. Like and there's some photos I've got of those.
Yeah, the little Vespers, the motorbikes.
Hastings Main Street, and Yeah, just the shops are beautiful, and then of course there's a whole lot of restaurants and things. You want to talk about those as well?
Well, basically, I think the other side of it too is that obviously it's a pretty impressive people watching area in Hastings Street.
Yeah.
But look, like the beach area, like the whole of Noosa, it's just got the vibe.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
As far as
yeah, we've been to, because as we said, we've been to Noosa a few times. You know, I have spent a bit of money. I bought a couple of dresses and things there.
Actually, you bought 3 in from Tommy Bahamas on our. We're only there for 2 days, and the last day, Leanne said we've got to get up early. Which wasn't too early because the shop didn't open until 9. But Leanne was there probably 10 to 9, waiting for the shop to open. And yes, she was the proud owner of 3 new beautiful dresses.
I entered indoor competition because I bought those dresses to win an esky, just what we need.
Oh, yeah. I won't tell you how much the dresses cost.
No, you won't.
However,
they're for travelling.
Leanne said to me, she tried on the first one. And then she tried on the second one. She said, "I can't pick." I said, "Well, buy both. You can't actually wear 2 at the same time." And then she bought a third one. She said, "But this just looks so much, it's classy, And I thought, "Oh well, that's not going back on the rack." So yeah, we were the proud owners of 3 beautiful dresses. But we are going to Mexico.
Yeah,
and Leanne said, "We just can't go there looking average."
I didn't say that. That's my life.
Yeah. So anyway, look, and I've got to tell you, the dresses look absolutely spectacular on you, Leonita.
Just change the subject completely because that's what I do. In the main street, there is a tourist information centre, and I have to say, even though we don't really need help, but I always like to go to the tourist information centres because they help with our research. They've got maps and brochures and things. But the people in the Noosa Tourist Information Centre were the most helpful I think I've come across. Like the lady that was dealing with us, she was giving us restaurant recommendations and just really a great resource. So if you're heading into Noosa, just go and check them out, because you might find out something that you didn't know. And Lyle's got his mouth open here, ready to go.
All I was going to say is I think she was so enthusiastic.
Yeah, it's nice though
about the area that she lived in, and it was so
really.
Yeah, and she was it was so obvious, but yeah, she was a pleasure to deal with, and yeah. Just
a little hint there. All right, we need to move on to food.
It's not cheap.
No, but
I've got to say
we're going to give some. We're going to talk about a few places that we've been to and we'd recommend. I mean, obviously the list is there's so many places to go that we haven't even been to, like Betty's Burgers, and we did have there once, and there's grilled
with the kids,
yeah. So there's there's burger joints, there's just some pizza places, like Cheap and Cheerful sort of places like that.
Not many, but anyway.
Yeah, but there's a few though, like Takeaway, because sort of places that you can get that sort of food.
Well, you do. There's a lot of the hospitality people.
Yes.
Are backpackers, internationals, and. So obviously they've got to have somewhere for them to eat. But look, probably the best. Well, I wouldn't say. I can't say it's the best, or I can't say it's not the best. But probably the most well-known restaurant is Ricky's on the River, which is actually not in Noosa Heads, but it's on the river, and it's actually got a stop from the Noosa ferry from the Noosa Marina. One of its stops is actually Ricky's on the River. I've been there, but it was a long time ago, and it's just magnificent.
Still, the reviews are great.
And then you've got a bunch of, as Leanne pointed out earlier, there's a bunch of beachfront restaurants, and some of the best restaurants in Noosa Heads. You've got Sales, you've got Bistro C, which we've been to. We actually went for lunch at Seasons beachfront. We had a beautiful Pinot Gris, and it was called Even Keel.
That's right.
Even Keel,
and we had some nice share plates there. Which
we did, and that Even Keel is a Pinot Gris from Mornington Peninsula.
But that Seasons, it's it's like you're outdoors, but there was a bit of a rain shower, and they they've got the blinds that pop down straight away, and the staff there were fabulous.
Yeah, well, there was I remember the French guy. His name was Alain.
Yeah.
And there was another Italian girl, and we were telling her that we were
thinking about going to Italy.
Going to Italy, and she was teaching us Italian.
Grazie.
Grazie, and arrivederci, and
so that's season.
all that sort of stuff.
If you're looking for like a nice place to have lunch or dinner right on the beach, like actual, look out the window, there's the beach. That's seasons, and Bistro C's the same. Like that's down a little bit further.
Yep.
So they're two really great restaurants.
Then we went to dinner at Rococo's.
Yeah, now that's in Hastings Street.
Correct.
And that's been there a long time. That's an Italian restaurant.
Well, Italian and European,
Sure.
It's. But we had an actual Pinot Grigio there, and it was called Rocca Ventosa.
That's
you.
you.
Me Ventosa. But that's the name of it. It was $13 a glass. And it was really, really good.
But Rococo's, where we were sitting, they've got the chairs sort of facing out, which is pretty cool. Under your own sort of private umbrella, on sort of like a grassy, little area, and you're just sitting out watching everyone go by. And as you're sitting there, it's getting darker, and then all the fairy lights come on, which is really nice in the main street. But I'd certainly, and I had a lovely pork dish. And
I had milk-fed veal, and it was both our meals. Well, actually, we shared a little bit, and both the meals were fabulous. And then we shared a panna cotta.
Well, share's an exaggeration. I had one spoonful, but anyway. So that's
and I was dirty on having the one spoonful, but that's all right. But that was really good.
Rococo's, and then another one in the main street is Aromas. Which is really nice. What are you smiling at?
Because I said to you, it's the best ever people watching restaurant I've ever been to. And what did you say to me?
That's a big call. Like, is that better than Paris or any other places that we've sat and watched? And
I did. I had to take a second.
It's probably one of the best in Australia. Let's go that far, because what they've done too is
I'd have to say the best.
Okay, they too have all their chairs, not all of them, but a lot of them sort of sitting along the front, looking out at the main street. And we had lovely coffee and fruit salad there, but
and Clinton, he seated us.
Yeah, he
was a nice guy. He's probably only a little bit younger than mine, but he had the best shirt on.
I don't agree, but anyway.
I like that. But anyway, we had beautiful coffee there, and they had fabulous fresh fruit salad.
Now, another place that we often get stuff, and this is might not be cheap and cheerful, but you don't have to spend a lot of money, is the Boardwalk Bistro, which is, you just come in off the main beach, and it's sort of in a arcade area. Now, they have a sit-down restaurant where you're right on the beach, or we often get a egg and bacon burger or a coffee there.
Yeah.
And we got a takeaway fruit salad as well, but then we also bought some nice fresh bagels for lunch one day, and they were divine, like a smoked salmon one.
Look, that we sort of discovered that when the kids were up, if you remember.
We've been there with family, like you can't always go out for meals, and we bought takeaway and stuff. So that's a great little spot, the Boardwalk Bistro. And the last place we're going to talk about now is the place to eat is the Noosa Surf Club. Now, we've been there lots of times, and they have the pretty standard sort of club food, from your pick and parmigiana.
What did you say? The what is it?
Your pick and parmigiana. Your chicken parmigiana.
That's better.
And your steak, and those sorts of meals, and they have a special of the day. One of my favourites is the tropical salad, I think it's called, or the sunshine salad.
Sunshine salad, which is
prawns and avocado and mango, and it's just divine. And all across the front of the surf club is tables, but is like floor to ceiling windows, and they open the top half up, and so you're basically sitting there watching the surf lifesavers, come in from their practicing, and they're doing all the stuff with their surf skis, and the beach is right there, and it's a hive of activities there.
Well, can I say that I agree with what Leanne said about the sunshine salad, and it is beautiful, and it's got mango, it's got everything, it's fabulous. But what Leanne hasn't mentioned is that the main reason Leanne goes to the Noosa Head Surf Club is, you're not going to believe it, they actually have very reasonably priced at $12. I think it was $12.50 per glass, Shaw and Smith.
Yeah.
and they've always got plenty of it. And at $12.50 a glass, that is unbelievable value.
So here you are sitting up high,
basically on the beach. Yeah.
Right there with beautiful prawns, avocado, mango, and a glass with the best view in the world, with the best, husband in the world.
Right answer.
And a glass of Shaw and Smith. It doesn't get much better than that, does it?
Well, I just want to add, I think that what Leanne sort of mentioned before about the all the lifesavers and that coming off the beach, and some of these people are obviously professional athletes, and they rinse the boards and they rinse the whatever, and then they have showers, and you're talking about, professional athletes, and they look absolutely amazing.
But boys and girls.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, sure.
And the little nippers come in.
Yeah, and the nippers come in and they're playing and making noise and all the rest of it. But look, we generally go down around the 5 o'clock mark to have dinner, say around 6, and it's a perfect timing because they've come back from doing their training, and look, it's
a great spot, and also it's perfect timing because we beat the crowd and we always get a table at the front.
Yep.
And within about 10 minutes, everyone's sort of trying to find the tables up the front.
Yeah, they don't, just a bit of a tip, they don't take bookings.
They don't, but it's worth going.
So go that little bit earlier to get a better table. But look, fabulous.
Like everything else in Noosa, we're talking about accommodation now. There's the extremes in accommodation styles and prices. Now, we've stayed in a couple of different places in Noosa, and we like to be right there in the action. Where we've stayed is the Peppers Resort.
Yeah, Peppers Noosa Resort.
Yeah, and that's probably a little bit more upmarket, but if you go off season, it's much more reasonable. But it's a great spot because you're right up in the, you're probably like 200-300 metres up the hill from Main Beach. And the buildings are nestled in the trees and you can hardly even see them, and they've got some beautiful pool areas, and they've got a lovely big restaurant there as well where you can have breakfast or, obviously meals. So it's very professional, and some of the bigger rooms there are just, absolutely amazing, aren't they? So that's a great spot. And then this time we were researching, we stayed at the Sea Haven
Noosa? Sea Haven Noosa, and it's like a beachfront accommodation.
Yeah, every time I've been to Noosa, you walk on the beach and you see these apartments with the views looking over the beach and the pools on the beach, and I've always thought, I really want to stay there. Oh my gosh, I'd love to stay there. And we did get to stay there this time. However, when I checked in, I said to the lady, oh man, she must have thought I was a dill. I said, now, have you got a pool? She said, actually we have 3. I'm like, great. And then I said, and she's like, oh, you do realise you only have a studio room? And I'm like, yep. I booked it because it was the cheapest one I could find, and we were just there to do a couple of outdoor activities, so I wasn't too worried about the room. But but having said that, the pool area was to die for. I can see why people pay the big bucks for the non-studio rooms that face the beach. And Sea Haven is right there in the main street of Hastings. It's just Hastings Street, sorry. It's just the best, like I'd go back there, or Peppers. They're both great.
Yeah, I sort of, I sort of said to Leanne that I think that Peppers has got a bit of competition after now we've stayed at the Sea Haven place. The studio apartment, I can see why the lady, I suppose in some respects, warned us that the studio apartment, because you've got no views, it's small and all that sort of thing. But, we don't mind that because we're only there for a couple of days. We're only going to sleep in the room. If we went back, I'd probably go for one on the beachfront.
Well, that'd be our whole year's budget.
Yeah, probably. But it's magnificent because if you sit by the pool, and just as you walk out the gate, you then cross the boardwalk
onto the beach.
And
now, I'd probably do some research into off-season sort of costs, because there was some group of families and there's 4 apartments together, and they all had the grass area outside, and they look like they were having a absolute ball. But there are other places like
you've got Seabull, you've got Sofitel, you've got all the really well-known brand hotels. But there are hostels, backpacker hostels.
There's a brand new one called Bounce.
Yeah, Bounce. I had a look at the price of that. I thought, as a hostel, I thought it seemed a bit expensive, but it was brand new. But the hostels there are obviously for the backpackers.
And there's a lot of them around. So
yeah, I mean, well, that's one of the things about the main street. The amount of international accents you hear is fabulous. But then you've got from there, you can go down to Noosaville, which has got the houseboats.
Yep.
And you've also got at the Everglades, you've got the camping and glamping. But that's like 25 minutes from Noosa.
But there are sort of family caravan park areas as well, like, you know, in Noosa, and they've got some older resorts, like the not older as in they're not good, but they're a bit cheaper and they're just off the main street. So if you're prepared to be a couple of kilometres, you know, back away from the main area of Noosa Heads, the accommodation is much cheaper.
Well, that leads us into Noosaville.
Yeah, let's talk about that. Sorry, so just, you know, the accommodation. Just do your research. You know, there is something for everybody, and you know, there are buses as well in Noosa. As Lyle was saying before, not necessarily the free shuttle buses all year, but you know, it's quite a big infrastructure for buses from Tewantin and from Sunshine Beach and from Noosa Junction as well. Like the buses that run, that we saw people using them all the time when we were at the bus depot, the station thing there. So you know, that there is that option as well, so you can stay a bit further away, park your car and get buses when you want to go into Noosa Main Street. So yeah, so as Lyle said, from Noosa Heads, where the beach area, you head over a little bridge and then you're sort of there on the Noosa River, and that area is called Noosaville. I really like that area. There's a beautiful wide pathway all along the river. There's shady parks, there's, you know, kids' playgrounds, there's, you know, grass areas to play, you know, outdoor games on. There's beautiful restaurants, you know, on one side as well, and then there's all the water activities. You know, you see people on jet skis, on paddle boards, on, you know, like just normal boats, on ferries. You know,
so you can basically, there's the boathouse, which is basically a restaurant and cafe, and they're the main activities. Higher place
on the water.
So you've got whale watching. They do whale watching from July to October. You've got Noosa Thriller, which is the jet ski boat. You've got the dolphin tours. You've got offshore fishing charters, jet ski hire, boat hire. So you know, you can look.
And as I said before, you can hire houseboats. It's quite popular up in Noosa, and because there's such a big waterway, safe, sort of flat, you know, waterway area, it's a really popular thing to do, those houseboats.
Yeah, I mean, and there's a bunch of, you know, all along that Noosa River is just restaurant after restaurant after restaurant after restaurant, and also obviously accommodation places. It is much more affordable than Noosa Heads, and it's not that far out. And as you've just discussed then, all the activities are based out of there because there's nothing like that based out of Noosa Heads.
No, that's right.
Right, okay, so all the activities are based out of the Noosa River. I've got a mate that comes up that I used to work with for years and years and years. He comes up for a couple of months and stays in Noosaville every year. Loves it.
And then we've got another friend who every year takes a houseboat out, him and his sons, and they just they just go fishing every, you know, one week for a year, and they, you know, switch off from life. They have a few arguments with their wives about how much, you know, they need to, you know,
take away
liquid refreshments they need.
Okay.
But also there's the Noosa Marina.
Yeah, Noosa Marina, and that's
which is sort of at one end of, you know, one part of the river up a little bit further, isn't it?
Yeah, and that's where the Noosa Ferry and the Noosa Sound Canal cruises are based.
Yeah, so Noosa Sound is like they go out around all the canal development.
Yeah, which is, you know, all the rich and famous where they live.
Yeah.
And so they operate 7 days a week. They do daytime and sunset cruises, and in their information I was surprised they actually welcome BYO booze and also food.
Yeah.
The Noosa ferries, I used to deal with them when we had the Montville accommodation place.
Yes.
Great people. Paul, shout out to you. He looked after me for years. And they operate 7 days a week as well. And they have 7 stops along the Noosa River.
So you can do that as like a form of transport, but we used to do it as like just a nice cruise on the Noosa River.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. And we've done that. And it is fabulous.
Yeah.
And
you can be inside or up on the top for better views. So and there's some restaurants and things around that Noosa Marina area as well.
Yeah, and basically Leslie Ann says it's from the Noosa Marina and finishes at the Hastings Street, actually outside the Sofitel, and it takes about 40 minutes for one way and 90 minutes if you park your car back at the Noosa Marina. But yeah, look, beautiful place. And there's like, as Leanne's saying, as far as accommodation there is concerned, we stayed at the Sun Motel.
Yeah, that's right. A bit cheaper, cheerful, but
and it's directly across the road from the Sun Motel is the Noosa Yacht Club, which we had lunch there a couple of times. So yeah, fabulous, highly recommended.
So we were in Noosa recently just doing some research, and one of the things we wanted to do research about was the Noosa Everglades in the Noosa Habitat, and because it's something that you hear about, and a lot of people you talk to have never been there. Now the Noosa Habitat or Noosa Everglades is about 25 minutes from Noosa Heads, and it's an Everglades system and a big lake area. And just before Lyle tells you all the information that he knows, I know that there's 2 Everglades systems in the world. And this is only 2.
There's only 2, yeah.
But this is the only Everglades system where it's safe to swim. Did you know that?
Oh, that's right, because the other place is in Florida, which has got all the alligators.
That's right. So let's tell people a little bit about the Noosa Everglades and Noosa Habitat. Habitat Noosa is what it's called.
Okay, so the Everglades Eco Tour, which is really the main reason we went up this time, because I've always wanted to do it, and I'd heard a lot about it. So you cruise, I'll just read this, cruise deep into the tranquil and mirrored waterways of Australia's only Everglades. This spectacular network of pristine waterways and wetlands provides ample photo opportunities. So that's right up Leanne's.
I was just going to say, and I literally got some beautiful photos, and we'll tell you why the water is so good for taking photos in a minute, the reflections and things. And it's on our website, beachtravelone.com.
Yeah, look, the landscape has remained untouched for thousands of years, so there's absolutely zero development.
Yeah.
There's nothing.
It's part of the national park too.
Yeah. It reminded me a little bit, remember that we did that tour in Tasmania?
In the Gordon River.
The Gordon River, and because there's nothing there.
Well, there was some bushfires that went through. They told us about that, and but it seems the bush is regenerating really nicely as well. So what you do is you can get a shuttle bus.
Yep.
Or you can drive yourself up to the main area of Noosa Habitat, which used to be a farmhouse, and it's now...
It used to be a cattle farm.
Right, so but where the actual, the amenities and things are, that's where the farmhouse was.
Correct.
So it's now sort of the tourist office, and there's a restaurant area and stuff. And so from there you hop on, you walk down to Lake Cootharaba, is it? No, it's not called Cootharaba. What's the name of it?
I think
Cootharaba or something.
Yeah.
I've got it wrong.
Cootharaba, yeah.
And it's a great big lake, and from there you hop on like a flat bottom sort of boat, and they take you sort of across the lake into where the Everglades start. Yes, and then you do this beautiful, serene, slow glide all the way up through the Everglades, and there's the water lilies, and there wasn't a lot of bird life when we were there because it's there's been some floods in Central Australia, so all the bird life head out there to do their thing. And
that's what Trevor told us.
He did, yeah.
And it made sense.
Yeah, well, I've heard that before. That's where all the pelicans go as well. And then you come across the water, which is black in colour and almost silky to look at. And if you didn't know, you'd think it was oil, I think.
Well, it sort of is. It's the tannin from the tea trees.
Tea trees, right? But it's not. But if you put your hand down in the water, you can still see. It's not dirty, right? So it's not. It's just the colour. And what that does is it makes for this amazing reflections. You know, so you've got this pitch black water with the shape of the trees and the greenery and the water lilies and things. It's just
and the light. You know, obviously the sun reflection off the water, and it's pretty impressive.
And we did the Serenity cruise, which is in the afternoon.
We did,
and they offer free drink, so you can either have a nice bubbles.
Yes.
Or they
Prosecco.
Yeah, and they have like some juice and water. Who does that? And then they had some craft beer because they make the craft beer on site, which I guess you're going to talk about in a minute. And, And so Trevor was the guide, the boat driver. He was really helpful and chatty, and answered any questions. And he's been sort of in the Noosa area and sort of driving boats and things for years and years and years.
Well, I think he originally owned it and sold it on, and now he just works as the captain of the barge. And like he was very informative, quite a funny bloke.
But if you want to do a little bit more than just the Serenity cruise, they do another cruise in the morning, right?
Yeah, from 9 till 3 in the morning.
Now that one offers the chance for you to canoe, so you can go across the lake. And they dump half of you there at Fig Tree Point, I think it is.
Fig Tree Point, correct.
And with these great big safe wide canoes, and then you can canoe 5 kilometres up the...
to Harry's Hut.
To Harry's Hut. And then they used to be that you'd canoe up and then canoe back. They realised that people didn't want to do that. So one lot canoes up and they hop in the boat, and then another lot canoe back, right?
Yeah.
And having done the Serenity cruise, I'd actually be happy to have a crack at the canoe one, because it actually doesn't look like it's so flat. There's no current. There's nothing in the water that's unsafe. There's no other boats around. I mean, the other boats can go up there. I think we saw one other boat in the whole 3 hours we were out.
Yeah.
I just think that would be a really great way to see the Everglades, just be part of nature on that canoe. So I'd certainly have a go at that, or recommend you do that. So now, anything else about the Everglade tour? There's some accommodation there, isn't there?
Yeah, they've got the camping area, and they've also got the glamping area, and it's all obviously on lakefront frontage.
So some of the glamping ones have 4 people and a shared sort of bathroom area.
Yep. And others...
they sleep 6 and they have their own ensuite, I think, is how it works. And then there's just camping spots, so we met people on the cruise who were staying there. You can set up your own camp, you can sit caravans, and they're quite big sites and quite reasonable from what they were saying too. Yeah,
and they were very enthusiastic about the happy hour.
Yeah, there's happy hour. So it is a great area to camp, because if you're into that sort of thing, because there's lots of flat, green, open spaces. You're right on that great big lake, which is perfect for swimming and fishing. And then if you've got your own paddleboards and stuff, you can do all of that as well. There is like a restaurant there that you can have.
Yes,
meals.
And that's called the Cootharaba, which is, you got it right, the Cootharaba Bar and Bistro.
Yeah. And they make beer.
They do. And maybe I'm an ex-publican, so I am very interested in the craft beers. And we had a pale ale.
Yes.
We shared a schooner because we had to get on the bus in a hurry, and that was $9. And I got to tell you, the pale ale was.
It was yummy.
I reckon it's like 9.5 out of 10. Yeah. It was that good. Now the thing is, with a different with 11 different artesian beers brewed on site, it is the perfect opportunity to learn about the process of how water is sourced from the Cooloola sandmass sub-artesian basin, which filters through the sands and the gravel for 75 years before being utilised in the brewing process, resulting in a beer with no preservatives, additives or flavours. Now, I am very aware that one of the big differences in beer internationally and also in Australia is the water.
Yeah.
For instance, you get very, very, very good beers in Tasmania because the water is so clear. And reading this is basically what makes their beer better than most, or commercially brewed beer.
Right, yes.
And then, as I said, $9 a schooner, can't go wrong.
But you can't buy that beer anywhere else at the moment.
They've only got on-premise license.
Yeah. So part of this area is, the bar where they make the beer. They have a restaurant, as I said, which you've got a lot of tables inside in aircon, and then they've got this massive big outdoor
al fresco
area, which is really nice as well, which you've got views all the way down to the lake as well. Now, they also do pizza nights, which apparently are pretty cool, because when people are camping, they're happy. They do the wood-fired
You
pizza.
always make friends with people, don't you?
Yes, I do. And, why wouldn't you? Anyway, so the Everglades experience, or Habitat Noosa, has something for everybody, and it's a really nice day out if you're staying in Noosa and you just want a nice, learn something, see something different that you won't see anywhere else in the world except,
And for our international visitors, if they ever do this, they will see a bunch of kangaroos.
That's correct. So a little bit further out from Noosa is one of the popular spots that people would love to go while they're in the Sunshine Coast area, and I reckon it's one of the most famous markets in Australia, the Yamundi markets, right?
Yep.
Yeah. And, Lyle didn't believe me, but it has over 600 stalls. That's a shitload.
No, I didn't believe you. That's true.
But there are two sections, right? There's the handmade section, which has everything that you can imagine, like I saw this thing with this guy making doormats or house mats out of recycled rope from ships.
Okay.
that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
And any sort of street food that you can imagine as well. So it's a great spot just to wander around and see.
Yeah, and I mean, you've got massage, all different sorts of massages. You've got tarot card readings. But the other side of it too, they have very, very good entertainers and street performers. Look, it's fabulous. It really is worth it. And then we've done that a couple of times, and then we were with my brother Cal and his wife Bron, and we walked across the road, and because they knew the
beer maker,
or the brewer,
whatever
the brewer. That was the word I was looking for. At the Yamundi Brewery, which is at the Imperial Hotel in Yamundi.
So trust us to go from the markets to the pub, eh?
Yeah, sure. I mean, it was, and we had lunch there. The food was great. We met Chico, John Sheen, who's the main brewer at Yamundi Brewery. They actually do a free 60-minute tour. You've got to book it. And they take you through how they make the beer, and you actually get a tasting, and it's free. So highly recommend.
And also the thing about that hotel is it's like an old Queenslander building.
Oh yeah, look, it's a beautiful building. Yeah, absolutely beautiful.
So it's worth just going over to have a look at that. Like there's seating area, and it's got upstairs restaurant part of it's upstairs as well. And I thought it was really beautiful. Yeah,
like it's very creative decor.
And they have entertainment there. I think they've
they do. They have live entertainment in the beer garden area, and then they've got what they call the bunker underneath, which they showed us, and that is a ticketed venue. In other words, you've got to pay, and they have some of the best live acts in Australia there.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, and Yamundi's like very different sort of vibe from Noosa. It's I'd say get your tie-dye out, and no, it's great. It's really.
It is
different.
A bit hippie.
Yeah, that's exactly. But sometimes that's really nice. Like
Sure.
Yeah. So as we mentioned earlier, though, Lyle, Noosa is home to one of Australia's big sporting events, and that's the Noosa Triathlon. Right?
Yes, it is.
Now, whether you're into triathlons or not, the Noosa Tri really is an event like no other, and it really ticks some pretty big boxes, and it's actually so popular that it's already booked for the November event this year. Who would think a triathlon got booked out? Crazy, right? Now,
I did know that.
Yeah, you would, because Lyle has participated in some Noosa Tries, but we're not going to tell you about that here. What we've done is we've recorded a bonus clip about this famous event and tell you all about it, and also Lyle's efforts, and you hear just you want to hear that, you go to the link in the show notes on our website for this episode at beachtravelwine.com, and you'll find the bonus audio there. And let me tell you, there's some funny stories, and the Noosa Try website actually has like results history, and I found that. So there's a whole lot of stuff to, if you want to hear that bonus episode.
Can I protest, because really what this bonus clip, as you called it, is Land's opportunity to take the piss
not true.
out of me.
There is some really interesting information about this try that you don't even know. So, go and check out the link on the show notes that go with this episode.
Yeah, muchas gracias.
To finish off this episode all about Noosa, I did say earlier on as well, like we would tell you the reason why it's one of our favourite places, and I said you wouldn't guess. And so we couldn't talk about Noosa Lyle and not say why we love it. Now, Noosa has, as we said, the beautiful beaches, the glamorous main street, the lovely restaurants, the national park walk that you've never seen, cruising through the Everglades, all that stuff, right? But that's not the thing that we love about it, is it?
Well, we do love that, but there is
that's not the main reason.
There's a special reason.
Yeah, and the special reason is they have Sean Smith at the surf club. No, the special reason.
What do you mean? I thought that's what it was. No. It's that we got married in Noosa Heads.
We did get married in Noosa Heads. Yeah, we got married at the
Peppers
Resort, and we had one of the most amazing rooms there. That's why I didn't tell you too much about that earlier. It had 3 levels, and the top level was the main bedroom, which was the whole floor, and the big balcony with the view. And we had just our closest, we had family and a couple of friends, but and there was 20 of us, I think. And what was really special is your mum was there, which was lovely.
Yep.
And when you have one of these beautiful villas, beachside villas, or beach villas, not beachside villas, you get access to a private pool area called Brooks Pool, and we had our wedding there, surrounded by, the people we love the most, and with the backdrop of Noosa Beach. And
Laguna Bay.
I know. And that was, that was a special, special day, and to see how special it was. Lyle, what date was it?
The 26th of August.
Oh, there we go.
2016. And you really try to get me. And I noticed you didn't mention how you got your heel caught.
I was just going to say, that's right. So, because we've both been married before, we decided we didn't need the whole, walk down the aisle stuff. So we decided we're going to walk in together. So everyone's seated. We've got to go up some stairs to get to the
pool area. Yeah.
And I've got these special shoes that I've bought in Spain. They're just like sexy as. And
in Malaga.
Yes,
you bought them?
Yeah, the Goaty shop. And so I start to walk along the floor, the boards, and my heel goes straight down into and
it was hilarious.
It was hilarious. But, anyway, it was a fabulous day, and we go back to Peppers because we love it there, and for that reason, and we've got family that go back every year as well now, and it's a very special place in our hearts, and Noosa is a popular wedding destination for obvious reasons. So anyway, we hope you've enjoyed our episode all about Noosa, and remember, if you want to fly into Noosa, you got Bonza, as I said earlier, as well, like new airline flying to the Sunshine Coast, no excuses now. You too can be at the most northern suburb of Melbourne, enjoying the Paris end of the Sunshine Coast. So until next time, it's goodbye from him.
And goodbye from her.